Stocks are a wide swathe of green, with advances far outnumbering the declines. Realty and auto are big gainers, even as financials, FMCG and healthcare lag. Mid-caps outperform. Sources tell CNBC-TV18 that the government is leaning towards scrapping the windfall gain tax, as it hasn't yielded much revenue and made the industry unhappy and has been hindering output expansion. NTPC Green's Energy's 10,000 crore rupees IPO opens for subscription following a near 4,000 crore rupee mop-up from the prominent anchor investors. The renewable major has an implied market cap of about 90,000 crore rupees at the offer price. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman brushes aside concerns on growth slowing but calls for more affordable interest rates. She adds that the government is committed to taking steps to keep the economy on the growth path. The government has cut dividend payout to 4% from 5% of net worth for the public sector companies, while also tightening the criteria for buybacks, issue of bonus shares and stock splits. Hello, good afternoon. You've tuned into Business Lunch on CNBC-TV18 and I'm Vinny Motiwala in the Mumbai News Studio. Look at the markets today, a pretty day coming in for the markets. We're seeing the green across screen. Whether you look at the Nifty, that's trading with good gains as of now as well. Almost near the day's highest point is what we're looking at the Nifty trading at, up 1.3% in trade. 23,750 levels is what the Nifty is holding on to. Sensex 2 holding on to gains of almost 1.3% in trade that we're watching out for. Other than that, let's look at what we're seeing in terms of the mid and small cap. The broader markets, that's where the outperformance is coming in from as well. Nifty mid-cap holding on to gains of 1.8% and small cap holding on to gains of almost 2% in trade is what we're watching out for from the broader end of the market. All sectors trading in the green. We have Nifty, IT, media and auto. These are the top sectoral gainers in trade today. Let's look at some of the gainers in terms of the Nifties that we're watching out for. What is pulling up the Nifty today? We have HDFC Bank that's performing well. We have Infosys, TCS, M&M, ITC and even Reliance, the heavyweight, is performing well. So surely all these performing well, supporting the markets in terms of the up move that we're seeing. One segment that we're seeing a bit of a pressure coming in is SBI Life, HDFC Life. So these life insurance names seems like a bit of a pressure there. Other than that, we have SBI, Hindalco and ICICI Bank, which are trading a bit on the lower side and on the flip side and a bit in the red. But yes, that's how the market is looking like. Not a bad day coming in, a lot of gainers and a lot of green on the screen today. But today we'll start the Business Lunch show by focusing on the big newsmaker. Where Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman, who played down concerns over a potential slowdown in the economic growth. Speaking at the annual SBI conclave in Mumbai, she said that there is no reason for undue concern and India remains in a strong position. She also believes that there needs to be more conversations to discuss the inflation and the interest rate dynamics. Listen in.
Let me assure you that the government is fully aware of the challenges posed by both domestic and global factors. There is no cause for undue concern. India's economy remains resilient, underpinned by strong macroeconomic fundamentals. FDI inflows have demonstrated healthy growth in FY25, reinforcing global confidence in India's economic potential. Our foreign exchange reserves comfortably cover 11.8 months of imports and exceed 100% of external debt, underlining the strong net buffer in the Indian economy. The government is closely monitoring an evolving situation. We remain committed to taking all necessary measures to ensure that India remains fully and firmly on course to become the third largest economy in the world.
How concerned are you about inflation, and what is the view as far as interest rates are concerned? Do you expect a cut anytime soon, or do you believe on account of where inflation is at this point in time, the cut perhaps is going to be further pushed out?
This is Question which I'm sure every journalist would love to ask. And Shireen leads the bandwagon. I respect her for asking me this question. I will certainly try to give an answer. Global markets don't go by your demand and supply ups and downs. They want a consistent flow of pulses to come into India. So complex issues, but very much affecting the common man. So inflation gets actually very, very volatile because of the supply-demand constraints. Equally, I think what is important is when you look at India's growth requirements, and you can have so many different voices coming out and saying the cost of borrowing is really very stressful. And at a time when we want industries to ramp up and move building capacities, bank interest rates will have to be far more affordable. So I'm putting as much what Shireen asked me as a reply back to you saying, these are our requirements if we have to make Vikasit Bharat not just an aspiration, but as a reality. So we need to have a lot more conversation on this, and I would stop at that.
Okay, and the finance minister also raised concerns about insurance mis-selling, emphasizing its contribution to higher borrowing costs for customers. She urged banks to focus on affordable lending rates and not the burden customers with needless insurance products. Listen in.
Trust should be built by the way you offer your portfolios, by the way you offer your service, and by the way you look at each customer's requirement without clubbing them into one class, particularly in the context where banks facilitate the distribution of insurance products. I wish to say this for due consideration of the bank's boards. While this model has significantly contributed to improving insurance penetration across the country, it has also raised concerns about instances of mis-selling, and I would say added or contributed in indirect ways of increased cost of borrowing for the customers. So banks will have to look at it with a lot more emphasis on their core banking activities and not burden customers with insurances which they don't require.
Okay, and because after this comment, we've seen SBI Life and HDFC Life today a bit under pressure. Seems like that's something that spooked the market, because for SBI Life, HDFC Life and these life insurance companies, bank assurance is something that is a major part of their sales that comes in from there. So yesterday, HDFC Life is down 3%. Other days was point, similarly for SBI Life. But let's move on and shifting gears. The government is likely to discontinue windfall gain taxes, and sources have told CNBC-TV18 that the Prime Minister's office asked Petroleum and Revenue Department to finalize the contours of the issue, to issue the relevant notifications to discontinue the levy. Timsi Jaipurial joining with us with details on that front. Timsi.
Well, after almost over 2 years of existence, the windfall gains tax levy could soon come to an end. That's what sources are indicating to CNBC-TV18. What we are picking up is that the government at the top has decided to discontinue with this levy, and a formal notification for the discontinuation of windfall gains tax levy could come soon as by end of December or middle of December. Sources indicate that the Prime Minister's office has asked Petroleum Department and Revenue Department to finalize the contours to issue a relevant notification to discontinue this levy. Remember, this levy, that is the windfall gains tax, was levied from 1st of July 2022. And some of the reasons behind this discontinuation is that the average crude price was not yielding much taxes. The industry was unhappy with the levy, and the levy was having an impact on the production levels, and thus the country now wants to enhance its production levels of crude oil, because of which this discontinuation decision has been taken. Let's see how soon a formal notification is issued. Where are we actually in terms of the total collections? All of this are likely to coming in together with the announcement of discontinuation, which could be as soon as within December itself. Let's see, as and when it comes, we'll keep you updated. Back to you.
Thanks so much for that, Timsy. But on that note, we'll slip into a very short break. Don't go anywhere. More on news and updates on the other side. Welcome back. You're watching Business Lunch on CNBC-TV18, and let's move on to a CNBC-TV18 exclusive that we have for you all. A large business group is eyeing stake in PSP projects. Let's go across to Vivek Iyer, who's joining in with us. And what is he understanding in terms of from the sources as well? Vivek, good afternoon. What is happening on this front?
Well, good afternoon. Well, we understand a very interesting deal is likely to take place as far as the Indian EPC, that is the engineering, procurement and construction space is concerned. The Adani Group, remember, which recently acquired majority stake in an EPC company, ITD Cementation, is now looking to add heft as far as its EPC capabilities are concerned. We understand that the company is in advanced talks and advanced stage of negotiations to acquiring stake and a controlling stake in PSP projects. We understand that the Adani Group is in advanced stage to go ahead and acquire a little over 60.1% stake in the company, and this will be done from the current promoters. Now, remember, given the fact that a 60% stake sale from the promoters will actually go ahead and trigger the open offer rule, and we understand Adani Group is prepared to go ahead and announce an open offer to acquire an additional 26% stake from the current shareholders. The current market cap of the company currently close to 2,800 crores, so indicating that close to 75% stake will, a little over 80% stake in fact, will change hands as if this particular deal goes through. We reached out to both the Adani Group and PSP projects. The Adani Group didn't comment on our queries. The PSP projects is yet to respond to our query, but this will be an interesting deal if it goes through, given the fact that the Adani Group in the last 3 months is looking to add significant capabilities as far as the EPC part of the business is concerned.
Absolutely, Vivek. Surely an interesting one to watch out for if this goes through. PSP projects as of now is trading with gains of almost 13-14% in trade. But let's move on, and the Indian aviation sector is what we're focusing on because it has achieved a historic milestone on November 17th, recording more than 5 lakh passengers departing across the country in a single day. Madhya is joining with us to give us more details on this record achievement in the aviation sector. Madhya, good afternoon.
Afternoon, Vinny. Yes, 5 lakh air passengers in a single day. That's a historic milestone, and it followed several days of record-breaking passenger numbers that started from the 8th of November, which had seen 4.9 lakh passengers. This surge in air travel was largely driven by festive season and the long weekend. 17th November, remember, was a Sunday when people returned from their respective destinations. These passengers were flown on 3,173 flights, and around 70% of these flights were operated by Indigo, which commands a 63% market share. But October was indeed a great month for airlines, airports and hotels in general, as 3 major Indian festivals, which is Dussehra, Dhanteras and Diwali, fell in October, allowing people to make travel plans. Now, what also encouraged travelers is the ticket sale by various airlines. Post-Diwali, airlines launched fare sales that spurred bookings, leading to an uptick in both fares and the load factor as demand continued to rise due to the festivals and the long weekend. Now, Mumbai International Airport said it handled over 4.42 million passengers in October, which is of which 3.16 million were domestic and over 1.2 million were international. But while we celebrate the increase in air travel, it is important to note the challenges too. Congestion at major airports has led to flight delays, people missing connecting flights that add to operational costs for airlines. Additionally, October and November saw a spate of hoax bomb threats that caused diversions and increased expenses for airlines, further impacting their profitability.
Okay, Madhya, thank you so much for that update there on the aviation sector. But moving on from the aviation sector to the sidelines of what happened at the Global Leadership Summit, we did have Debashish Panda, the chairperson of IRDAI, and he says that listing would be a natural progression for the large and mature insurers. On the issue of GST removal on health and term life insurance, he says that he is waiting for the government to take a call. So let's listen in to what more he had to say.
listing would be a natural progression. Once you achieve the scale, size, or the age, you got to list the company, and it should happen. Listing also brings in a lot of benefits in terms of better disclosures, more value for the policyholders, more value for the investors. It would enhance the customer confidence. It would, even open up access to raising more capital, and it would support growth, innovation. So all of that follows with the listing of a company. And we are in engagement with the industry that once, the criteria of either the age or the scale criteria, and we are nudging them to go for listing. And I expect that you will see in the coming months and years more companies, going for listing, or at least preparing that roadmap. I think that we'll be able to react when it happens. But typically, these decisions will happen at the government, considering that whatever cut happens, if it happens, then the benefit passes on to the customer, right? So obviously, it could be implementation of the new GST rates sans the ITC, which is the input tax credit. Then the entire benefit passes on to the customer. So, it'll be good for the sector in the sense there may be a big impetus for health and life term. So, however, I'm sure the government will take a decision in the overall interest of the public and also the economy.
Okay, let's move on. And the Competition Commission of India has imposed a penalty of over 210 crore rupees on Meta for abusing the dominant position. Meta has also responded disagreeing with the CCI's decision. Parikshit is joining in with us to tell us more on this front. Parikshit.
This comes as a big setback to Meta in India. The Competition Commission of India has imposed a 213 crore penalty on WhatsApp and Meta for violating its dominant position in the market. Now, this dates back to a 2021 privacy update by WhatsApp, which, according to the Commission, compelled users to agree to a precondition that they will be able to use WhatsApp services only if they agree for their data to be shared by WhatsApp with other Meta companies and Meta products for advertising purposes. The Commission noted that this was violative of the competition law and customers cannot be forced with a policy which says take it or leave it. WhatsApp and Meta have also been given directions to remove any such policies and preconditions from any of their products in India. They have also said that in case there's any sort of a condition, users must have an opt-out option, and there must also be a tab where they can review any decision that they have made in future. Meta has put out a statement saying they do not agree with the Competition Commission and they are likely to appeal against this order.
Okay, thank you so much for that, Parikshit. But on that note, we're going to slip into a very short break. But after the break, we'll talk about the state of Maharashtra as it readies itself for the elections tomorrow. We get you all the details on the other side. Thanks for staying tuned into Business Lunch on CNBC-TV18. But let's talk about Maharashtra, because Maharashtra votes tomorrow and it will be important to see how the voters cast their ballot. Most importantly, since the fall of Uddhav Thackeray-led government in the state. Sandhya is joining in with us with more details on this. Sandhya.
So these are undoubtedly one of the most unpredictable, uncertain elections in the recent times. Nobody knows for sure what exactly is going to happen. Even poll pundits this time are being extremely careful before, making any forecast. Now, what exactly has happened in the last few days as far as the election campaign is concerned? The ruling Maha Vikas Aghadi has cornered the ruling the opposition Maha Vikas Aghadi has actually cornered the ruling dispensation on issues like farmer distress, unemployment, Maratha reservation, Dharaviri development, and the breaking of Shiv Sena and NCP. On the other hand, the ruling dispensation is, depending on welfare schemes like Ladki Behan and infrastructure development for people to cast vote for them. Now, there are certain things both the sides are suffering with. It's cross-nomination, it's infighting, there is uncertainty because when the nominations were filed, and even till the date the nominations were supposed to be withdrawn, till then there was no certainty who is going to contest the elections from where. So as I said, extremely uncertain and unpredictable elections, and the counting is going to happen on 23rd November.
Absolutely, Sandhya. Thank you so much for that update there. But with that, it's a wrap on this edition of Business Lunch on CNBC TV18. Thank you so much from myself as well as the team who put the show together. Don't go anywhere. Your Midcap Radar up next.